Mortimer is an English surname. Norman origins. The origin of the name is Norman. One version is that it derives from Mortimer, site of the Cistercian Abbey de Mortimer at Lises near Lyons-le-Forêt and close to Rouen in Normandy. The land was granted to the Cistercians by Henry II of England in the 1180s. Finding the land to be a marshland area of the Lyons forest around the running Fouley-Brock stream, the monks dug out a large drainage lake and built the Abbey de Mortimer. The ruins and lake can still be visited, and the later 16th century abbey hosts tours. According to François de Beaurepaire, there are two possible explanations. First, a small pond must have already existed before the land was given to the monks and have already been called Mortimer like the two other Mortimers, because the word mare, pond, was not used anymore beyond the 10th century. This word is only attested in northwestern France and of Frankish or Saxon origin mari, merry, mere, lake, in Cambrema, Blingema, etc. Mort, dead, is also quite common to mean stagnant. In Port Mort, the port with stagnant water. Mortu, dead water, etc. Second, the monks could have given the name Mortimer to their drainage lake to remember the other Mortimer. For any kind of reason we don't know, making a pun at the same time with Mare Mort, Dead Sea. Quote, the village of Mortimer further north in the Seine maritime area bears the same name and predates the abbey at Lises by more than 100 years. Another version, which appears at least as far back the Elizabethan era. C. For instance, Edward XI, by Christopher Marlowe. Scene 7 line 21 ff. Attributes the name to a Norman knight who fought in the Crusades and was distinguished in battle by the shores of the Dead Sea. Mare Morte in French. But this is unsubstantiated and almost certainly a romanticized myth. Medieval magnates. In the Middle Ages, the Mortimers were a powerful magnate family, a dynasty of marcher lords in the Welsh Marches, centered on Wigmore Castle in Herefordshire, and from the 14th century holding the title of Earl of March. Through marriage, the Mortimers came during the reign of Richard II to be close to the English throne. But when Richard II was deposed in 1399, the claims of the Mortimers were ignored and the throne vested in the usurper Henry of Lancaster. Instead, the Mortimer claims were later, 1425, transmitted to the House of York, which ultimately claimed them in the Wars of the Roses. Members of the noble Mortimer family included Ranulph de Mortimer, Lord of Wigmore Castle in Herefordshire and Seigneur of Street, Victor N. Corks, today St. Victor l'Abbaye, Seine-Maritime, Upper Normandy, Hugh de Mortimer, Lord of Wigmore Castle, Roger Mortimer of Wigmore, Ralph de Mortimer, Roger Mortimer, 1st Baron Mortimer, 1231–1282. Isabella Mortimer, Countess of Arundel, after 1247 before the 1st of April 1292, after 1300. Edmund Mortimer, 2nd Baron Mortimer, 1251–1304. Roger Mortimer, 1st Earl of March, 1287–1330. Edmund Mortimer, 1302–1331. Catherine Mortimer, Countess of Warwick, 1314–1369. Agnes Mortimer, Countess of Pembroke, 1317–1368. Roger Mortimer, 2nd Earl of March, 1328–1360. Edmund Mortimer, 3rd Earl of March, 1352–1381. Edmund Mortimer, 1376–1409. Fought with Owain Glyndwr and plotted with Henry Hotspur Percy to depose King Henry IV of England. Roger Mortimer, 4th Earl of March, 1374–1398. Edmund Mortimer, 5th Earl of March, 1391–1425. Other people: Amanda Day Mortimer, born 1944, American urban planner and consultant. Bob Mortimer, born 1959, English comedian and actor. Carol Mortimer, born 1960, English romance novelist. Chris Mortimer, born 1958, retired Australian rugby league player. Connor Mortimer, Irish Gaelic football player. Daniel Mortimer, born 1989, Australian rugby league player. Edmund Mortimer, actor, 1874 to 1944, American actor and film director. Emily Mortimer, born 1971, English actress. Favell Lee Mortimer, 1802 to 1878, English evangelical author of educational books for children. Gary Mortimer, born 1967, English aeronaut. George Ferris Widborn Mortimer, 1805 to 1871, English schoolmaster and divine. Harvey Walkgate Mortimer Sr., 1753 to 1819, and Jr., 1776 to 1850, English gunmakers on Fleet Street in London. Ian Mortimer, born 1983, Canadian sprint canoe. Ian Mortimer, historian, born 1967, British writer. James Mortimer, 1833 to 1911, American chess player, journalist and playwright. James Mortimer, athlete, born 1983, New Zealand hurdler. John Mortimer, 1923 to 2009, British barrister, dramatist, screenwriter and author. John B. Mortimer, Hong Kong judge. John Hamilton Mortimer, 1740 to 1779, British painter. John Robert Mortimer, 1825 to 1911, Yorkshire corn merchant and archaeologist. Catherine Mortimer, 1923 to 2003, American socialite. Kenneth Mortimer, President Emeritus of Western Washington University, 11th President of the University of Hawaii I System and Chancellor of the University of Hawaii I. At Manoa from 1993 to 2001. Minnie Mortimer, born 1980, fashion designer and socialite. Peter Mortimer, disambiguation. Roger Mortimer, racing, 1909 to 1991, racing correspondent. Steve Mortimer, born 1956, former Australian rugby league player. Tinsley Mortimer, born 1976, American socialite. Tony Mortimer, born 1970, British songwriter, composer, singer and rapper, member of British 1990s pop group East 17. Tommy Mortimer, born 2001, from New Zealand and born in Nelson. Fictional characters. Colonel Douglas Mortimer, played by Lee Van Cleef in the film For a Few Dollars More. Dr. Mortimer, a character in the Sherlock Holmes novel The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Philip Mortimer, a protagonist in Blake and Mortimer, a Belgian comics series created by Edgar P. Jacobs. Mortimer Brewster, a protagonist in Arsenic and Old Lace and its film adaptation. Mortimer Goth, a character in the life simulation games The Sims, The Sims 2, The Sims 3 and The Sims 4. Mortimer Harron, a male crewman in Star Trek Voyager, appearing in the episode Good Shepherd. Mortimer Mouse, a Disney character and rival of Mickey Mouse. Mortimer Schaff, the driver of the Hearst Shadow in the popular Destruction Derby franchise Twisted Metal. Mortimer Delville, a character in the novel Cecilia by Francis Burney. Mortimer McMire, the primary antagonist of the Commander Keen series. Mortimer Toynbee, Toad, a mutant in the X-Men comics. Mortimer Morty Smith, one of the two lead characters in Rick and Morty. Mortimer Mort Richtersgren, a character and companion in the video game Planescape Torment. Lord Mortimer, played by Billy House in the 1946 film Bedlam. Mortimer Duke, a character in the movie Trading Places, played by Don Ameche. See also: Mort, name; Morton, surname.